Hello all, and thanks for joining us for the Domestic Relations Practice Section meeting with the Circuit Court Clerk. Courtney, Hampton, and Lindsay Burke are the current chairs for the Domestic Relations Practice Section. Lindsay couldn't be here with us today. Our speakers include Vince Riggs and Savannah Guerrero. Courtney will be moderating for us. If you have any questions, please use the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen and not the chat so we can keep it organized. There is an order that we will post in the chat section, and it can also be found on the event page on the Fayette County Bar Association's website for download. And I'll hand it over to Courtney so we can get started.
All right, welcome everybody. I'm glad that you all could make it. Caitlin, Dan, did we lose Vince?
Yeah, looks like it for a minute.
Well, I'll go ahead and introduce Vince, even though he leads a little introduction with this group, and Savannah. As many of you know, Vince is a lifelong resident of Lexington. He's a graduate of Lafayette High School, and he worked at the Kroger Company to support himself while attending the University of Kentucky, where he obtained a bachelor's degree in psychology. Vince then obtained his Juris Doctorate degree from the Appalachian School of Law in Virginia. And while Vince was practicing, he practiced immigration, civil, and family law until he was elected the Circuit Court Clerk of Fayette County in 2013. And we also have Savannah here, which some of you may know Savannah. She was always my person to go to. Savannah will be with the clerk's office for 18 years as of October 1st. So congratulations, Savannah. And Savannah began her tenure with the clerk's office in the appeals division, and then she was promoted to supervisor of the circuit civil division several years ago. So we're going to open it up, and I think Vince and Savannah have a little bit of a presentation, and then we'll open it up to questions. So Vince and Savannah, I'll let you take it.
All right, looks like we, hey guys, good to see you all, whoever's on. We were kind of developed a small little agenda, past challenges, present challenges, and future issues or challenges that we may have in the local court system. I think the first question that was posed to us with regard to past challenges, what issues were deputy clerks seeing with our e-filing and other processes before the pandemic? I'm going to turn that over to Savannah. Are you seeing any difference, Savannah, between what we were doing before and as far as what's happening now with the e-filing system?
I don't think I see too much of a difference other than attorneys are trying to utilize obviously the electronic filing more now. There's still a couple of kinks, but they're being worked out, and we're, working with attorneys trying to get them through some of those as far as like filing certain types of case the EQ, but things seem to be.
Can you give us an example? I don't want to go too deep unless somebody's
Adoptions as part of the family filing, and certain particular like guardian ad litem, when people are trying to file for a guardian ad litem through the EQ. I think they're still working on a way to do that, and it's kind of confusing to some of the attorneys when they're trying to do that at the initial filing.
And I think that to tag along with that, the challenge is you have 120 counties and 120 court systems trying to do it their way, and every county is different. And so the Administrative Office of Court and Supreme Court have to get together and either make it kind of allow there to be some flexibility at the local level, or a statewide mandate, this is how we're going to do it kind of thing. But that's real difficult when every court system does it differently, and every judge within the family court does things differently as well too. So and I think someone's watching, maybe if there's any questions that pop up in the chat, I'm not paying attention to that. So
I'm keeping an eye on it.
Oh, good, Courtney. The next on our agenda was present challenges, current common e-filing issues, and I'm going to turn that over to you, Savannah, as well. I know I have some in my mind, but I think you know more than I do.
One of the main common issues right now is that attorneys cannot file into sealed cases. That seems to be a big issue. Other than that, there's really not.
Is there an option for that, or is just there's not?
I don't think at the time you can, there's not really an option. You cannot, I think at this time file
Everything has
into,
to be done conventionally, right?
yes.
Everything has to be done by paper conventionally.
Yes.
Okay.
I think so. Nicole just asked a question about that. Do we know if the AOC plans to allow attorneys in confidential cases to access e-file in those? So
I
that
do
kind of
know-
piggybacks on what you're saying.
Yeah, and Nicole, that I'm on that committee representing the clerks, and it is a statewide. Look at this. Look at the court cases we have. We've got DNA and juvenile, and I think that we're able to do that in some respect in some of the DNA cases, I believe. But it's something they are working on. Yes. I'll be honest with you. As an aside, when the pandemic happened, the AOC switched gears for a second to be able and focused on, and we're focused on the ability for the clerk to work remotely. Judges can do it, secretaries can do it, but the clerk couldn't. And of course, a lot of our tasks don't lend themselves for us to have the ability to do that, but we've been carting case files to clerks' houses and they've been working. So now the AOC has been working on and has established a method in which the clerk can work from home and social distance and work remotely, process into the EQ and that sort of thing. So I think the AOC, refocused on that. Now that's been established, they can kick back and go back into these issues and challenges we have with sealed cases. The next item was tips regarding e-filing. I do know that one of the ones that I get a lot from judges, and we wanted to, kind of clear the air. Attorneys can file in the e-filing system a courtesy copy to the judge. You don't have to file a conventional copy with us. All we're going to do is just put it in their box. I know a lot of the judges that said email it to me. That's up to them. But the e-filing system, am I right, Savannah, does allow for attorneys to file a courtesy copy to the judge, and it shows that they've gotten it. So I'm a big fan of it. A lot of times, there have been statements made in court, well, the clerk never gave me a courtesy copy. Well, that's really not our role. If you bring it to us conventionally in the Dropbox, we're just going to put it in their box, and then whenever they get it, they get it. But it would be my preference, if I were still practicing, I would submit that through the portal, right through the e-filing portal as a courtesy copy, so they know that they've gotten it. And Savannah, do you have anything else to add on to that?
I don't think so.
Tips. The next item was tips regarding quick clerk assistance with unusual and emergent issues. I like that word, emergent. I think instead, unless I'm missing something, email. And our email addresses are not top secret. I've just answered about 5 of them, items subjects that I couldn't really answer, but I was able to field it. Feel free to do that. Obviously, mine's vinceriggs@kycourts.net. Don't start bombarding me with emails, but I will try to respond. And Savannah, yours is Savannah. Spell your last name.
Guerrero.
Okay. At kycourts.net. They can always email you as well.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with Mary Moore at kycourts.net, at least in the civil division. And if you need emails of others, like in domestic violence, just shoot me an email and I'll give it to you. They're not top secret. And I think, unless I'm missing something, Savannah, that's probably the best way is emailing, isn't it?
Yes, probably. I'm sorry, yes.
We can't take e-filing documents, so don't scan us a summons or anything through our email, because that is prohibited. But if you have a question about something in particular and you need immediate assistance, then and feel free to email me as well. If I don't know the answer, then I'll get it to the person. So feel free, especially right now during the pandemic, we've relied on email obviously tremendously, and it's working out pretty well. Savannah, do you have anything else to add to that?
It is best to do email, or if it's like an emergent issue or a question and they need to file something with a deadline, or they need to get something filed because they need to get to the judge's attention, it's best for them to probably call us and give us a heads up and say, we're filing this in the EQ. If they have an envelope number, they can give that to us, and then we can get the process going a whole lot quicker than, trying to make calls here and there when we can already be on top of the if it's something they need to get filed, it's a whole lot easier to, yes, email one of us or even call us and say, hey, I have this.
Sure. And we're also going to have clerks we've developed. The pandemic's moved us in a direction that we probably stay with for a while. We have some clerks that may be unable to work in the courthouse for a variety of reasons, whether they've met the requirements for working or teleworking, as we call it. They're able, we're testing, forwarding our phone lines to that particular employee's cell phone if they agree to it. Most of them do. We've been piloting that, and it's been working out pretty well. The problem is we have multiple phone lines into one division, so it's causing a busy signal. So we're working on that. We're trying to be inventive so that no one's waiting on a phone call. But email, if you need to email me, feel free, because I check it like every other second. So the next item was—
Vince, we got another question on that.
Sorry.
Is there anyone at AOC we can send questions to about e-filing? This person has a suggestion or comment about something when filing in a domestic case that would be helpful.
Yes, and I think, isn't that on online on the e-filing portal? If you have questions, is it a number or is it an email? I can't remember, Savannah, the number that we give to the help desk.
I think it's a phone number to the e-court support help desk.
I'll be honest with you. If you have a particular question about it, if you want to shoot the email to me, I'll route it to the person at AOC. The challenge is everybody is doing several different duties now because even at the AOC, they're working remotely as well. So if you get it to me, then I'll get it to the person if you have a suggestion. And then I can also bring it up at the e-courts committee, which I sit on representing Fayette County. So you want to shoot that to me as well, I'll forward it to the person that needs to get to. Otherwise, you can call the number, whichever you prefer. And if you want to shoot an email, I'll give you that number, that direction. Okay, any other questions before I move on? How many people are being scheduled to review files at a time? Savannah, I kind of know the answer to that. Maybe you want to answer that, or do you?
No, there's at least 2 people can view records at a time, and we're doing slots, 30-minute time slots. Of course, if there needs to be a little bit more time than that, then we can make arrangements for that. But we do have a sign-up sheet, so we can keep track of how many people are viewing files at one time. So. Right,
and on that as well too, that was geared towards some of the smaller counties. We have a lot more room. I did not like that idea of us being the gatekeeper and keeping people from coming in, but that was a Supreme Court mandate that, everything had to be made by appointment. And we're adhering to that, but we have a lot more flexibility since we're larger and, and have the space to do that generally. So if anybody's having an issue of getting a record, let me know, but it shouldn't be happening. And if it is, let me know. We'll try to figure out what the issue is. The next item was any possibility of a digital file review or digital recording review from off-site locations. Example, able to watch recorded hearing from office instead of basement. That is on our list. Again, that was on our forefront, and then we had to put it on the back burner when the pandemic happened. And we're doing, as an aside too, guys, our office, along with 5 other counties, are in a new database system called KY Courts 3. And that is the precursor for an all electronic record. Sorry, phone's ringing. For an all electronic record. So we're past that point. And so it will be us and 2 other counties, I think us and Kenton, that are going to test that. But it is on the list of things to do. If you have an all electronic record, then obviously you have to have a digital record as well too. And all the equipment's here to do it. It's just a matter of getting the programming done now that we've got all the other necessary programming done. So yes, that is on the.
And we've got another question here. Is there a way to electronically view a docket sheet for a case?
Electronic view a docket sheet. Well, 2 things. One, I'll speak for district court. The docket sheets are not scanned in any way. Obviously, those are written on by the judge, put in the file, and that's it. So I'm not sure if we're talking about a docket sheet for that or for family court. Now, in family court, of course, the rule is that the docket sheet is not the order unless the judge issues an order telling us to give the docket sheet to a party, if that's what we're talking about. Because we got two different animals. One is in district court, one's in circuit. So maybe we're talking about a DNA case, maybe. I don't know. Whoever asked, who asked the question?
Ronald.
So Ronald,
Or no,
are you,
Ronald.
what
Follow
particular?
up on that.
Yeah,
And you
I
can
don't
do
know.
in the question or in the chat box too. I can get it there, Ronald.
Yeah, just do that and then we'll follow up with you. See what particular case you're talking about. The next line is, does the e-filing system have a simple process for reissuing service of process for pro se litigants? And Savannah, I'm gonna turn that to you.
I was kind of a little mixed up as far as what you mean as the pro se litigants. Like they can't file currently at this time. A pro se litigant can't electronically file. It's not set up for that.
Yeah, except in small claims, that's it. They can in small claims, but no other case type.
So as far as civil division and circuit, we have yet to do the pro se filing.
And Sven, I'm thinking too, it may have a simple process for reissuing service on someone who's not represented, maybe. But we
Okay,
service all the time, don't we?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
The question is, how does the e-filing system have a simple process for reissuing service? I guess just stop right there generally. The process for reissuing service on a party.
They, through the EQ, they could go in under, I think when you reissue a summons, it's under like an alias summons, and they can have a reissued that way.
And I think most people are doing it that way.
Yeah.
So I hope that answers that question.
Roland clarified on that. When he said docket sheet, he meant the list of filings in the case.
Case history. Case histories.
That's not, yeah, he'd have to request that. Yeah, wouldn't he, Savannah? It wouldn't be something that it would be out there for anyone just to see.
I'm under the impression that if an attorney has access to CourtNet,
oh yeah.
They can view the case history that way. I mean, it has the documents that are filed into a record. That's similar, you know. I mean, it might not be official as far as our case history that we print out here from our record, but it gives them a general idea, if I'm not mistaken.
Otherwise, we printed out case histories, obviously for appellate purposes. We do it all the time.
Yes, it's something that somebody can access or request a copy of at any time.
Well, and I hope that answers your question. The next item is, how are pro se litigants interacting with deputy clerks presently? I think like everybody else, if I'm not mistaken, I will say I'm the copy person. I'm the one that copies all the forms and puts them out on our forms tower in the district court lobby. And there have been quite a few pro se litigants. Family court has created quite a few instructions for those as well. But we have a lot of calls. And then we do have, they're dropping off. We have a lot of pro se people dropping off documents. And I know that Mary Moore's been calling people back saying, oh, you forgot this or you forgot that. I hope that answers the question. You want to add to that, Savannah?
That pretty much covers it. I mean, they're utilizing the forms rack and they're filling them out and, like you say, dropping them in the drop box. And
the law library is open. I know a lot of people thought it was closed. It is. Judge Manel did open it back up for the public. The forms I put out front just so people would not have to go in there if they didn't want to. The law library trustees did want it open back up, so it is open for people to go in there as well. But the forms are out there, and we're interacting with them. They've pro se non-represented litigants have also come in and reviewed files just like everybody else. They signed up on our calendar. Next item, is there a right way or a wrong way to e-file a proposed order?
yes.
Go ahead, Savannah. I had the last question. I can answer that one, but you go ahead with that one.
Especially in family court cases, when they're filing a divorce, any order that needs to go to the judge's portal that requires a signature must be tendered. And a lot of attorneys are not tendering the separation agreement. the separation agreement is something that our judge signs off on, so it does require a signature. So in order for that to get to their portal as well, they would need to tender those. So we have come across numerous of those that aren't been tendered. We have to reject the entire filing, tell them to recorrect, the envelope by tendering that separation agreement and resubmitting it. So that's one main thing that we are noticing, but as far as an order, tender it.
Sure. And just as, and also to mention, the 6th Division, Judge Stein is not signing orders electronically. Am I correct?
That's correct.
That would be, different in her division. Everything was done conventionally or submitting them however I would suggest just getting with that Judge Stein and see how she wants to do it. I will tell you that I believe deep down inside that soon, if not next year, I know I keep saying next year, but no, I really do think it's going to happen, is that it's going to become a mandate. The e-signing by judges is going to become a mandate. I've always said, and this is nothing against judges by any means, but I've always said I didn't have an option. The clerks didn't have an option to say, hey, we're not going to do e-filing. We're not going to do it in Fayette County. We don't want to do it. And I don't think anybody else should have the option. That's just my personal take on it. I think that if it's a method in which gets the order, and it is so simple, isn't it? Savannah, once that order signed by the judge and comes back to it, the attorney gets it, and then documents that you got the order. That's always an issue. Where's the order? I haven't gotten the order. Well, yeah, that's one of the good things about it. I know that Judge Messer's all over it. I mean, and Masterton as well too. So I think it's going to become mandated very soon by the Supreme Court. Number 10, are judges still wanting us to pre-file proposed orders as we discussed around May? I think we're going to have to let the judges address that. I'd never like to answer questions for the judges. That'd probably be something to ask them, because I'm not sure. Everybody does it differently, I think. That's one of the things we always confuses us in the office, is when we have a multitude, 14 different ways of doing things. It's very difficult, especially for the public. I'm gonna move along because I don't want to take up too much. Anybody have any questions before I move on? We have future issues. When will the KCOJ schedules go back to normal? All right, so somebody asked a question. Okay, they have a general order from June, you said, Nicole? I can't see that's from. Oh, Nicole. Yeah, you're probably right. I didn't see that. Or don't remember, but that's probably about right. But I would get that information from the judges. Schedules go back to normal. It said when will the clerk schedules go back to order, and I changed it because it's not a clerk schedule, it's a court schedule. And when I say court, I mean the entire court system in Kentucky. Our office, the Chief Justice has said in spring, and I've talked to several of the justices, we can't go back in Fayette County to a normal schedule until there's a vaccine, for however long that takes. We just cannot be on top of each other and follow the CDC guidelines for. And when we say schedules, I think for the clerk's office, it would be everybody's here all at one time. And it's going to be a while, at least until there's a vaccine. And I'm just speaking for our office. Now, I will say that we're not working the 1 week, 1 off thing like most people think we are. We're working our scheduled week, and then the following week, we're working remotely in other parts of the courthouse or from home through teleworking. And I'm only going to speak for the clerk's office. I won't speak for other agencies with the courthouses, because ours is a totally separate schedule system. So I hope that answers the question. And as far as the judges' schedules and however, I don't know how they're going to do their schedules. They just do them and we just follow along. Number 12, when will attorneys or pro se litigants be able to access the circuit office again? I think that tags back into number 11, whenever the Supreme Court releases from the emergency pandemic protocols, which allows us to be all huddled together. But at this point, we can't do that. Number 13, more self-help forms coming from the Supreme Court. It was my understanding, and when I got this question, I said, no, the Supremes, that a county is piloting it. It was supposed to have been us, but I think a county is piloting those, but they're going to let me know when they're going to send those down for our approval. Again, right when this happened, right when the forms were getting ready to come out, the Supremes are going to review them. The pandemic happened. So a lot of things got shoved to the back burner, but now it's coming forward, and people have asked for them. Number 14, any statewide clerk changes on the horizon, access to justice initiatives. I do know that the Supreme Court and the Access to Justice Foundation and the trustees of the law libraries across the state, because every law library has a trustee group in every county, are looking to revamp the law library to make it more user-friendly for the public. Westlaw, that's there, it's free, they can access that, but of course they have to know how to use it. And they're wanting to, at least we were going to do that when, for the pandemic, moving Judge Goodwin into the courthouse and into her own suite, and then using the base, and she's going to take the space eventually. The law library is on the 3rd floor, and the basement will be where the new law library will be. And it's set up more for pro se litigants. There's a whole room that will be set up with a bank of computers and a printer provided by the Access to Justice. We already have that all worked out. It's just a matter of whenever we're able to do it, past the pandemic. And of course, funding was frozen because that's paid for by city dollars as well, because the city owns this building. So we just rent it from them. That's the last item that I have, unless somebody else has any other questions.
We've got a question on here from Catherine. Is there a way to request and pay for a certified copy of a decree, particularly with a name change or quadro via the e-filing system? If not, could you encourage that option?
I'll write that down. I don't think there is.
No, there's not. You can't do a copy request at this time through there.
We've had this issue with, in fact, a lot of people don't know this, but every time I think I have to sign, there can be no stamp. I have to physically sign each and every form. Am I right? That goes out of state.
Yes, that on an act of Congress
because states will not take a copy. They will not take a stamp. Has to be the original. So we're dealing with other states. So depending on what you're using it for, even if we did have it through the e-filing system, it may not be acceptable to other places, but for Kudrow's, they may, I don't know. But I've got that on my list to add that. No one's ever asked that before, but I like it. Any other questions?
None on here at this time, but everybody, help yourself and post them in the Q&A.
I will say that a lot of, while we're waiting for someone to, a lot of the courts, clerk's offices have gone back, but a lot of them have 5 people or 7 people, and they're able to social distance. That is a challenge for Fayette and Jefferson because we just don't have the ability to do that. And so we're having to be real inventive as far as, forwarding phone calls and working remotely. We're even having clerks drop off, case file. Judges always did it, took case files home, but now clerks are actually doing that as well from home, and able to reschedule cases or code cases or process documents, and they just print back to the courthouse. So we've become very inventive during this time, so we're not idle, and we're always trying to get things moving along. I know the judges have got several of their Zoom schedules are kind of all over the place, and we just follow along with whatever they have. I don't think we're having the traditional motion hour. If I haven't looked and paid attention, but I'm not aware if we're having it like we used to before. So. Anybody have anything else? Savannah, can you think of anything else we've not covered?
No.
Generally.
Covered a lot.
Oh, BS 300.
That's right. Yes. With the filing divorces, some attorneys are forgetting to file the BS 300 with those. And also with adoptions, they don't file it at the beginning, but at the end, the VS 102s. So any vital statistic form, just don't forget those.
Yeah, and I did have a call from the Vital Statistics Department or Division the other day, and the lady that handles them was not happy. Because I think things have been requested, but they didn't have the VS 100 or the VS form in the case yet because we didn't have it to send to them. And so I explained to them that we can only give them what we have. So that's a real big one. And we still keep, no, we don't have to anymore because they're online, right? We used to keep that, but we don't have to do that anymore, right?
Keep the VS form.
The actual particular paper, remember that paper we had to use?
Oh, yes, it can be on regular paper. It doesn't have to be on the bond paper anymore, the cotton bond, but we do print those out when they electronically file them, and we keep them with the record, so we have them, but we also can print it off of the images.
Rebecca's got some good questions. Keep them coming. I can't read what she just wrote, but.
So because I was going to actually kind of say the same thing. So Nicole said the issue she doesn't like with the VS form is they want an original signature. So with all this going on, we need to mail it to you. So that's what I was going to ask you guys. Do you want it, like what I've been doing is just mailing it and saying, please sign it and put your little stamp on it and then send it back to me to send in with my check and everything. Do you guys like it that way, or do you rather somebody e-file it and then you, I guess, would print it and then do the original signature?
Are you referring to the VS 300?
No, the VS 102 with the adoptions, the name change form. So you know how at the bottom you guys like certify it and put
Yeah. Well, I would think you would still be able to electronically file that, because when we print it off, we could do an actual live signature on it and we have to crimp the bottom of those anyway. So I don't know.
Nicole said she's had the VS kickback because her signature was not the original. Oh yeah, so you would need both of them on there. So it would have to be the original, you're right, Nicole? So are you just good with us sending it to you with like an envelope coming back to us, or how do you?
Sure, that'll work. Yeah. Because a lot of times attorneys are wanting certified copies, like you said, of the judgment anyway. So if you do it together, it makes sense.
Doing it all at the same time, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
These are good questions. I mean, the e-filing system is only as good as we make it. And I say we, I mean you all, because you use it every day. And we want you to. And during the pandemic, it has exploded. I just sent, which would be obvious, I just sent the statistics the other day, and it was amazing at the level on the graph of cases that have been e-filed now compared to before March, because I think people have just been forced to do it. I like it because eventually it's going to be a paper trail. So Nicole Prebeck, if she wants to know where her order is, it will show, judge has signed. That's in the way the system works, or should work, will work. It will, so you won't have to call the clerk's office and find out where a form is, because it's kind of like, it's like when I refied my house not too long ago. It kind of gave you an update as to where forms are, and that's the way we're trying to gear the new e-filing system.
I think Nicole had a question as far as when she files a new case for divorce, and just making a notation in there from the filer to the clerk that you'll be mailing in the VS 300. I don't see a problem with that, as we can always look for that in the mail, and then place it with the record once we receive it. It's just you could possibly still electronically file it as well. That way we have an image. However, you can still mail that original one in with the live signature, so there won't be any kickbacks in the future.
And I think that's one of those things that I mentioned earlier is going to have to change with this original stuff, because what's original anymore? I mean, it's just all digital, right? So, and we have, that's the executive branch. They don't move as fast, or haven't moved as fast as other branches of government, nor do they answer to us. So, oh my God, preach it, Vince. I'm over the department. I hear you. Does anybody have anything else?
I've seen too, there's some services and stuff for like an online notary and things like that too, which I'm assuming at some point is going to become a part of, like you said, what is an original signature and everything.
Right, and I get that question a lot, because they get the county clerk and the circuit clerk confused, and that's going to happen until we all retire. So it is what it is. But people ask me that all, and I believe that is the case. That people are. I try to keep up with some of those statutes laws that get passed, because even though they're not really for us, we get asked about them, and that was one of them, is online notaries as well. And I refer to the county clerk for him to address, and not necessarily us. You
All
think
right,
it'd be?
we've got Amy asked, is there a way to e-file the VS300 and request that the image not be uploaded to CourtNet as it has personal identifiers?
Yeah, we don't redact. So if you do, isn't that right, Savannah? So if you don't want it as an image, and we've scrambled before, yeah, just send it conventionally then, because when we it becomes an image, it's a process to get it out. So we could do it, but we don't want to do that. So don't send anything to the e-filing system that you don't want the whole world to see, for sure. Which is the issue we have with adoptions and with sealed cases, is how do we do that, and how do you still try to figure that out? And I say we, I mean the programmers, as to who should have access. I think it should be pretty simple, but who am I?
Now, I've e-filed in sealed cases, and it like just makes me re-enter my personal, you know, my CourtNet stuff to be able to see it. So I don't know. I mean, like I've e-filed all the adoptions that I've done recently.
Well, I think I'm talking about when you're filing, but if you file that, I think that's an image that's in there. Am I right? For other,
I can't like if I use like the firm CourtNet, I can't see it. But if I sign into my own CourtNet, I can. But I don't really do that because it's separate. It all goes through there, the firm one. But
sure. And it's been a long time since I've been on your all side as well, too, of the system, to see what you all can do, because it is adapting and changing, which is good. I'm glad.
so Vince, would you recommend then that the VS300, we don't even file with our petition? We just send the original over?
I'm thinking so. What do you think, Savannah? I mean, it could be a placeholder, but yeah, if it's got identifiers that you don't want anybody to see, Savannah, I'm gonna defer to you because you do it every day, not me.
You're fine. I like what Nicole said as far as just they can put a memo in there to us. You know, the filer, there's an option for them to leave us a note. So if they start saying VS300 will be mailed conventionally, then we just need to look out for that, for that notation and be expecting one in the mail. So I can let all the clerks know to look out for, that to start maybe beginning. That way we're not having to kick back any.
And I say we've had people when they come into the office conventionally to file, they go, "Oh, I forgot the VS300." Okay, bring it on back. Go ahead and do it, but we need to have that. And never was. I mean, we had very few issues there.
Great. Any other questions out there?
Like I said, if y'all have any questions later on that you think of, just shoot me an email. If I don't have the answer, we'll get it for you as best we can. So if you need to look at a file, just shoot us an email or give us a call.
Melissa Wilson says, miss you all.
I'm going to say that, Melissa, that is so true. I said that the other day. I said, you never knew. I mean, I talked to the clerks all, we talk about, and we really, really do miss that interaction. I mean, I know people think that we're trying to keep people out, and we're not at all. We would much rather have you come in. It would make everybody's life easier. But we miss having that social interaction, don't we, Savannah? And talking to Kevin Pally, and letting him put his hat down, and we're letting him put his bike inside the courthouse,
It's definitely different. We're not seeing everybody's faces on a daily basis, and then just receiving stuff through the mail and electronic filing. It's different.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen my mom. She had surgery back in April, and I've not seen her. I mean, I've talked to her, and, but I've just not been around her because, for obvious reasons. So
Nicole says, the only thing I really miss about motion dockets, seeing colleagues, catching up, and resolving things before the docket call. I will say the resolving things, definitely miss that.
And I remember that. I remember that well. And us, I mean, when we would see attorneys and hey, I've got your file, or I've got your, document that you want. I'll bring it up to you while you're here, that sort of thing. I do miss that. And we're going to get back to it eventually. I mean, it was all new to us as it is to everyone else. But we do appreciate your all's feedback, and just be patient with us. If you need something, just call us, just let us know. I hate this dead silence. It drives me
I
crazy.
know. Who else has questions
I'm
while we have them here?
multitasking all the time. So I will say that as a little funny thing, I'm now, which is crazy, I'm the copy person. So I do all the copies and for a lot of the departments, not all of them. And I'm now rescheduling traffic court dates when there's rescheduled by the county attorney. And I know that's not a topic of criminal law right here, but Larry Roberts is very nervous about me allowing me to do that. But I managed, and everybody's fine. Nobody's in jail yet. So I guess I'm doing okay. But that's kind of where we are. So everybody's got to do something.
Is there anything else, I don't know, Savannah, that you've run across that you guys are having to kick back? I know that I've had when I submitted divorce, I feel like I always did it one way and then suddenly started getting them kicked back to say they all need to say tendered, like you were talking before. Is there anything else that we need to be aware of that makes your lives easier over there?
I think we've covered it all.
I know that we've had where
Can't think it right now at the moment.
I know that we've had where someone's put the wrong county on it or the wrong case number, we usually catch it and we'll reject it back if we can. That just happens. It is what it is. But, just making sure that we, look at that as well. One big thing, Savannah, I forgot, envelopes for orders. So if it's electronically filed and you're an e-filer, you're going to get it electronically. We're having a terrible time. And I think it's just people just aren't, it's not deliberate, but the local rule requires envelopes with your orders if you want them to come back. Probably most people do it, but we have had a few that have not, provided envelopes to us. That's if they're going to delay it getting to you. Go ahead, Savannah. You want to say something?
I believe that's if you still have to conventionally
That's what I meant.
file an order. You still need to provide envelopes and copies of your order that for everybody can receive one and to get a copy. Yeah, but in electronic filing, that's the nice thing about it. We can just send, it's so much easier for us as well as the attorney. As soon as we click a button, they're receiving their copy in their email, and then we don't have to make copies. It's there and it's accessible to everyone really fast. But yeah, I think since then, some attorneys that certain divisions have to submit it conventionally, they forgot about the local rule, and we're having to make those copies in envelopes because we still want to be sure that the copies are mailed out.
Make sure you get the order, but now it will be delayed. That'll take some time, and nobody wants that. So
We've got another question on here from Catherine. You confirmed that the vital statistics form as an e-file record is a file record despite the personal identifiers. Why is that different, or is it not, from the AOC 152, the child support form, which you thought were being sealed?
I don't think the VS 300 form has socials on that, but your child support form does have social security numbers on it, and we can't seal that when it's e-filed.
Oh yeah, there's no redaction program to redact. There will be at some point. That's on our list as well too, as people can file them and they'll be automatically redacted, any identifiers. But yeah, right now we put them in a brown envelope, don't we, and put them in the file?
Yes.
That's the sealing, and I know people are laughing, but yeah, that's the best that we can do.
I've also noticed that the county attorney is doing both. They need the one with the actual socials on it, so they're having to do it conventionally, as well as an electronic version. The electronic one is in the record and signed. However, it's redacted, but they need the one with the socials, so they're having to get a second one signed. And we'll have one in the record for everyone, and then one sealed that way.
Nicole, I'll write that down. The e-signing their certificate. Are you talking when you say? Oh, okay, never mind. I see what you're talking about. Okay. She was mentioning Guerrero's, and I was just looking to see third parties. Okay. Put that on our list for e-filing. it doesn't seem like we've gone very far, but we actually have. We're a lot farther ahead than we thought we would be by this point in time. So hopefully, I think a lot of people have said, do you think we're going to be doing things like this past the pandemic? And I think we will. I think that people like Zoom. I don't know if everybody likes it, but some people like it. We'll see. I do think their changes are going to be coming, if not, and I shouldn't as much say changes now, but will we continue with the protocols that we are right now with how we hold court, maybe? As we've talked to other court systems throughout the nation, Nevada, Arizona, California, it's probably going to be a way of life for them and probably us as well too. So, and we'll adapt. We'll adapt.
Definitely the new normal.
Yeah, it is. But I will tell you that it really, Savannah knows this, that there are two things that really get me very upset. And that's one, if someone got let out of jail in criminal courts, or someone's been in jail longer than they need to be. And we've had that, whether it be in a civil matter or a criminal matter, where some people in some jails are sitting there because they couldn't be transported back here for child support cases and others. And that really, really bothers me. And I think it bothers me not only as a clerk, but as an attorney, of having, people that are presumed innocent sitting in a jail and not being let out. At least, anyway, we're working on it. And I say we collectively, the Court of Justice is working on it because, we get a lot of counties look up to us because if there's a case type, we're going to have it here in Fayette County and in Jefferson. So we do appreciate all your feedback because that's how without you, we don't know.
Great. Well, does anybody have any other questions? I know we're kind of circling towards the end here. Melissa says, so grateful to all of you. Yes, thank you very much, everybody at the clerk's office.
We appreciate that. We really, really do. We don't always get it right, but we will make it right if we can.
Are there any specific clerks, like say for adoptions or something like that you want us to reach out to, or is it a totally random whose turn it is on the system?
Well, keep in mind that what we had before is not what we're doing now. So we're not physically week on, week off like we work. So Savannah will be working just on certain days, of the week, but you could still email Savannah or whoever. I don't know who, I think everybody does adoptions, right?
Yes, everybody should know how to do everything. I know certain attorneys have their favorites, as far as filing certain things, but yeah, everybody's kind of getting better and have adoptions down, so anybody can process an adoption.
So anything particular?
Sarah Quarles left a message, love and miss you all. Thank you very much.
Miss you, Sarah.
She too. It's I try to get out and roam around as much as I can. This is my I'm on B team. This is A team's week to work, so I have to be secluded and not be around anybody, just like everybody else. I mean, I'm not. I got to abide by the rules as well too. So I'll float around, but I can't be floating in the clerk's office as much as I want to during that time. Hand sanitizer has been our friend, and if you all can't see, I've got like 4 cans of Clorox wipes, Lysol spray. It's crazy, but that's where we are. So.
Well, and it sounds like that everybody's adapting pretty well. I guess you guys haven't had anybody like from the public or anything coming in and acting like a fool.
Well, we just had one, so why did you even jinx that, Courtney? They came in and was videoing, which whatever. And I think he may have had some mental health issues, so
Okay.
Sheriff's office took care of that. But we don't like keeping the doors locked any more than anybody else does. But we're trucking through. So, but our mandate is to serve the public, and that's what we're supposed to do, and serve the court system. So we'll do whatever we can to make sure that happens. So we don't want anybody waiting to get a document. I had an attorney ask me the other day about getting some. I said, I don't ask for it the day before unless it's an absolute emergency, because we're going to be scrambling to get it done. But most everybody's been really good about that and giving us a heads up to get things done. And we're becoming more efficient, aren't we, Savannah? I mean, we're just learning to be more efficient, which is probably what we needed to do anyway. So.
Great. Well, thanks for that. Anything else anybody's got before we get off of here? Any issues anybody's run into or suggestions?
I did want to say before I forget too, don't forget, most of you already know that we call it the Forms Tower. It's in the district court building. That's where the drop-off boxes are, those blue drop-off boxes, which by the way, I paid for, not the Court of Justice, because they gave us mailboxes, which I thought was a joke. And they wanted to put the mailbox on the outside of the courthouse, which I laughed even more then. I said, they won't last a minute out there. So I ordered off Amazon, my favorite place in life, the little blue shelves to drop off thing. And that's working out very well. But every forum known to man, as much as we can, has been put out there. So if you need something and it's not out there, let us know.
Great. Well, we got a few more minutes if anybody has any questions. Kind of run through all of them we had.
Yeah. I will say that I just thought about this the other day, guys. I know that a lot of attorneys were bringing in, during the holidays, and firms will be, send over gifts to us. And I've got to address that with Judge Pinnell. It seems so very petty, doesn't it? But we're in a situation where we really can't have, anything brought over necessarily, because there are no potlucks in the courthouse. There are no, we haven't had anything, have we, Savannah? Because we just can't. We can't have that. So I've got to get that out there, that we appreciate all that people do. Yes, a card would be great. Now, cards are fine, but but you know what I'm talking about. Everything else, we're probably going to have to, and I'm hoping everybody will catch on to that. Say, we appreciate you, bringing us pizza, Fred Peters, but we're just not going to be able to do that this time. I don't think it's going to be permitted. So anyway.
Lisa put a question up here. Is there anything that we attorneys are doing or not doing that you have noticed or want us to change? And she misses you guys.
Which Lisa was that?
Olchin.
Oh, Lisa Olchin. I know how to spell her last name too. She used to be my boss, in case anybody didn't know. I can't think of anything, Savannah. We really have a good relationship with the offices, don't we? And not necessarily the attorneys, but also the paralegals and staff, right? I mean, we just know.
Some attorneys, they'll call us and ask us, hey, I'm getting ready to file this. I have this document. I have this. Is that everything that I'm going to need? Or can you think of something? Did I do this right? We answer it the best we can. And if it's correct, we tell them, yes, go ahead and submit it. If there's something missing, we'll tell them they can go ahead and fix it. And that way, when they electronically file it, there's no problems, it helps them out a lot. And we also get a lot of how-to questions as far as how to upload something from the attorney's point of view. We have only seen the clerk's side of the electronic filing system. So we try to do the best we can as far as explaining, but a lot of times we have to tell them to go to AOC's help desk and they can walk you through physically of how to file something through the EQ. I meant to say that earlier in case anybody had any how-to questions as far as filing something. We don't know what the attorney's viewpoint looks like.
Yeah, and we don't want to send you to AOC, the black hole, if we don't have to. But I will say they log every question or issue down. And that's how the more attorneys that call them and say they have an issue, the more on the forefront that particular matter needs to be addressed. They'll move it to the front of what they call their queue as well, of things that need to be addressed. And they do write them down. We get a list of things that attorneys have asked about, and so we really rely on you. But obviously sometimes things just can't wait. You just want to call us. We get that, and we'll answer as best we can. But the AOC does write down each and every item that you asked about. Or I should say the help desk, not the AOC.
All right. Any last minute ones?
Well, thank you guys
We
for
talked
having
about
us.
that a lot.
Yes. Well, thank you guys. We appreciate you having us. And like I said, if you think of something later, just shoot us an email, and Nicole Prebeck will Lisa Olchin will, and that's good. We want you to ask. That's what we're here for. And if I don't have the answer, we'll find it for you. So.
Great. Well, thanks everybody for attending. I know it's weird to have it on Zoom, but I feel like we're getting this figured out. So this
Yeah.
is for everybody.
Yes. Well, thank you guys for having us. We appreciate it. Savannah, you have anything?
No, I think that's it.
All right. Thank you guys. Take care.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.